10 business loan mistakes to avoid as a business owner if you want to have long-term success, have the right strategic partnership and roadmap so it can help you over a longer extended period and you're not having to make mistakes after mistakes, worrying what if, what should I do, who do I rely on, who's most trustworthy, and so much more. This is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions. I'm an expert business loan broker who's been doing this for a long time. And what I want to get into is a document that I put together of 10 business loan mistakes to avoid as a business loan broker, or I should say as a business owner, not a business loan broker. I'm so used to saying that sometimes. But what I do want to get into is this notepad that I put together, and there are 10 that I listed that I believe that are the most significant. I could go outside of this and I may give you a bonus. But let me know, where are you tuning in from? Give me a wave. Let me know, how's your day going? Anything planned for the weekend? Anything fun going on? So let me go through these rather quickly and then kind of come backwards a little bit. So number one, I put not getting educated. And what I mean by that is when you try to go get a business loan, an advance, any type of lending solution, whether it's a banking, non-banking, you have to be educated and understand what you're getting yourself into. You have to have some form of understanding, and that comes back to understanding the literature. It understands the material that you are reading, watching, listening to, all three senses or whatever you can apply yourself to. So honestly, you have to educate yourself in the market, and I will do that, and you do it through me as a business loan broker expert. And so that's where it comes in, the loan broker part, not like it was before. So you have to really measure what your understanding is. And if I send you material, do not overlook it. Take time to watch it. Take time to read it. Take time to understand, digest it. Even if it's a little bit longer than what you anticipated it to be. If you came to me and said, hey, what can I do? Or I sent you something, I just didn't want to read it, or I overlooked it. It happens, but it's right there. It probably was in the first second or two. You just didn't take time to look through it. So be resourceful as a business owner. If you're getting into business, entrepreneurship, whatever it is, be resourceful. There's no excuse for that. And so not getting educated is a part that a lot of business loan owners or business owners, see, I was going to go to that broker part again. Business owners, small, large, medium firms, whatever it is, they make the mistake of not getting educated and then ends up going in the wrong direction, which makes my point number 2 here, applying everywhere and anywhere, So let me just kind of break each one of these apart. Like I said, I was going to try to go through them all and then come backwards, but applying everywhere and anywhere, that means that you are just looking for anywhere that pleases you online. You may have found an ad on Instagram, on Facebook, on Google Ads, wherever it is, in the newspaper, on TV. You know, there's those ads now. I'm not going to start naming those companies. But it's not as simple as saying, hey, I found one, I'm going to go put in an application. No matter how robotic it is or it isn't, you have to be very careful because they can run your credit, even if it's just a soft pull. And then that organization, you don't know how they operate fully, do you? You may have called them, you may have emailed them, they tell you something, but it's not enough. Who you spoke to, they don't have in-depth knowledge on the matter as much. And so you need to speak to a broker, again, like myself, who understands the processes, understands what the lender or the lenders are looking for, the underwriters, how to collect the documents. And that's what's most important. And that's why a lot of people turn to me, because I know how to collect docs. I know how to analyze them correctly, evaluate them. I know the chances before we go into an application, the majority of the time. And then there's something where the business owner doesn't tell me. And so when we find out that they weren't approved or approved for as much, it necessarily isn't on my part these days. It's usually on the business owner who wasn't upfront about something when asked for. So make sure you're not just applying everywhere and anywhere, because it can run up your credit. It can be where you don't get the best lender or the best network. You have marketplaces where a lot of lenders are in it, but they're not usually the best. And how they operate is another question. Are they an A, B, C, D tier lender plus? And are you getting the best look from them? Are you getting the maximum amount from them? Are you getting the best terms or the best rates? The best maybe prepay on top of that. Prepayment penalties, early payment discounts. When you're eligible, are you eligible for more funding? Do the numbers make more sense? Does that person align with you and your industry is another thing you have to look at. And if they don't, it's going to be a repetitive process for you because you're just going to continue to apply anywhere and everywhere. And that's what we want to avoid, because even if it's a soft pull, inquiries are inquiries. And when lenders start seeing you doing this over and over, and even if you haven't accepted an offer, they'll decline you from even getting into the application. Or even if you're in the application, they'll notice something and they're going to be questioning it. So make sure you go to the best. Stop. It's not about spreading yourself too thin. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you shouldn't just shop for anywhere. I'm not saying you shouldn't shop, but don't do it if it's not going to be in your best interest, when you don't understand how they work, but you just heard about them and they sound attractive, so you're going to go there to apply. I would avoid that. I work with direct lenders and indirect lenders where we have this brokerage, and there are already multiple partners there that I already have direct lender partnerships with. So it would be best in your interest to look here where we can pull from one to two lenders and say, hey, this lender, we entertain this one, but this one's best. They're going to give you the most amount. They understand your industry and they are the best at what they do. So I can work with that as well. And it's very safe and secure. We don't run your credit over and over. We don't do that. We protect it. So be careful. There are many more reasons I could have mentioned under applying everywhere and anywhere, but let's just leave it at that for now. And one thing I do want to cut into is, I've been in your position. I know how difficult it can be when you're just getting started with nothing, zero revenue. Your first 5 months, 6 months, 12 months in, you maybe didn't generate that much, especially true if you're working in online digital business. And I have a digital marketing background, affiliate marketing. I did some e-commerce, hybrid, and then a blog and so forth. In the health space, helping clients develop their websites, SEO presence, Google Ads, and a lot more. And so I come from that whole, I didn't earn it in the first month or two. I earned my first probably 18 cents in like 7 to 8 months in, and it took time to build. And it wasn't just steady rolling from there. I had to make adjustments, and I was in a position like the majority of you, working 9 to 5 and having not always struggling day to day, but being underpaid, undervalued, overwhelmed. Company ended up going down under, but I was working hard in a logistics / financing role mentally on the computers, doing spreadsheets, budgeting, and ordering supplies and tools. And having been forklift certified, there were days where it wasn't heavy and physically heavy, but I would have to move material and just stock things up. But then it became a lot more during some certain seasons, and I was questioning whether I should stay there or not. And there was a position where I can advance into, but my supervisor didn't end up retiring like he was going to, ex-hardware engineer. So I stuck in it for a lot more stability. Ended up being, after 3 years, company decided to roll over and somebody bought them, and then, ended up going back on unemployment. And that's not a place I wanted to be back in. And the food stamps and all that, I've been there before, guys. So I know what it feels like, having to struggle and then bringing yourself back up, going to school academically, university community, and then getting my degree, and then focusing on certain aspects. Do I go back to finish another year of school? Do I go and get more certifications? It was out of the question. So I learned about how to build, passive income and other streams of income, and, focus primarily now on the business loan broker space because of what I learned there, getting funding for those. I want to go ahead and be as transparent as I can with you guys. Number 3, and I'll have my story more if you're watching this on YouTube. I'll leave it down below so you get the full version. Price shopping. And what I mean by that is you're looking for the lowest price. You're looking for the best in saving. I get you want to save. And yeah, I can't really blame you if it's a significant difference of like 10, 20, even 5,000 or less. But it's not all about the saving part and trying to shop for the lowest interest, the best term. It's about trying to get the best repayability. Yes, you want to initially try to get the best term at the best repayability. Even the payment structure, if it's not a monthly, the majority revenue-based, don't start off monthly. You start off weekly or daily. I created a piece of content on that. It's on the channel already. And I'll try to link it to you guys down below when it's on YouTube. So you don't always start off with monthly, especially revenue-based. You can start off weekly or daily and then move into those. But it's just a higher risk. And with revolving lines of credit, equipment loans, and some like SBA loans and a few more, you can start off monthly. But price shopping, stop being so like this has got to be another month. Or I get that, like you didn't get the most amount. But if I asked you, Mr. or Mrs. Business Owner, with what you get approved for, can you put that to work? Can you readjust your business plan and say, if I took 20,000, I wanted 40,000, but can I put this 20,000 to work right now? And the rates not necessarily are the problem. It probably is a repayability thing. It's a cash flow problem. It's like, okay, I'm going backwards. Am I going to stay positive? So it's not all about price shopping. It's about understanding how you use the money. Can you double, triple, quadruple your return on your investment from taking that? What are you applying it to? How long will it take you to create that return on your investment fully? Short and or long term. And understand those use of funds and what they ultimately will do. And what you also have to value is the relationship you have, the numbers now and what the numbers could be in the future. So looking for that lowest price, always having to save a nickel and dime, or it could be a little bit more than that. But is that the real answer? Could that be it? Maybe. But is it all the time? No. So don't always price shop. And you're going to be looking for something that doesn't exist. And that's my next point. Number 4, looking for something that does not exist. If you're price shopping, if you're thinking I can get more money, but you put an application in, or you heard from somebody that you're not going to get approved for as much, and you saw it probably, you're going to go, okay, well, I'm going to go find other places to go and apply to. That's not the right answer. That's not the right approach. And it's not about not having multiple options. It's not what I'm saying, like going out to see what's out on the market. But if you've come to someone like myself, I obviously will show you the best. And sometimes we want to seek multiple options with it not hurting us. And I'm going to make sure it does not hurt your credit or anything like that. But looking for something that doesn't exist, you're on a hamster wheel going backwards. And like I have previous business owners who get approved for like 10,000 and they go, well, I wanted 20, I wanted 30. It's not going to do it. And the payment back on that is going to be what, 13,000 or 12,000 in the amount. What time do I have? So I look at all that too. Well, I ask, do you have collateral? Is it sufficient enough? Do you have heavy equipment, real estate, inventory, accounts receivables? Maybe we can get you an AR line of credit. We can do another form of inventory financing. We can do heavy equipment, real estate, the amount that we want to collateralize if you're like in the transportation space, or any others as well. Most lenders want to see 500,000 and above in collateral that you have to offer. If not, then they're not going to take a look at it. So make sure that you're not looking for something that doesn't exist. And we don't know that from the beginning unless we meet somebody like myself who will show you the right way. The majority of the time, you're going to get the best at what's out there. And even if it's a lower price, that's probably what you were hoping for and you would get it. But it's not all about the lowest price. And making sure you don't hear somebody else tell you something about a certain product and they tell you that it's bad and you believe that. It's not how it works. 5, not being respectful and accountable. So this is kind of getting into a more like personal aspect. And this is very important because as a business owner, /an entrepreneur, myself included, we have to work on ourselves personally and look at ourselves in the mirror. And I know the effort it takes, Michael. It takes effort to actually look at myself and actually see internally what I'm doing wrong and how to make an adjustment, because by the time I'm done doing that, then what? I won't probably figure it out, or I won't have it done right. And so I get that. But it takes time to realize that what you're doing in your business is also a self-reflection of who you are in your personal life. Your personal life can be a self-reflection of what you bring into your business to certain extents. So you're not being respectful and accountable for yourself, and that meaning you're not following up appropriately, you're not taking the action you should be taking. You say something in your head, but you don't take action on it. If you say it out loud and you verbalize it, that's even worse. That you don't take action. And set yourself a time. Don't just say I'm going to apply. No, say I'm going to apply at 5 o'clock in my home office on Saturday, and I'm going to get this chunk done. That's it. Or I'm going to get all of it. That's how business owners, that's how entrepreneurs think. Number 6, not being patient. So this kind of goes back into the characteristic flaws, and that's kind of like one of the last points here. But be patient. Whenever you're in an application, you're not in an application. I'm asking you to be patient. If I submit a questionnaire form back to you, give me a day to 2 or so. Be patient. Don't just run up the hill and start finding everything and anything. It could backfire on you, and the majority of the time it does. So please be patient with me. Not being open-minded, that's number 7, and that's a huge one. When you're closed-minded, you're saying, hey, I don't want this because of my own ego, of my own frustrations, of my own stubbornness, because I have a belief that's not true. It's not factual. A lot of the times, business owners try to look for business financing, whether it's bank related or not. You are hanging on to your misbeliefs, and I'll help you with that. Understand how they are supposed to look like. So be open-minded about the application process. If you didn't like this, why is it your best interest? What can I do to change, to make it better? That's what you should be asking. How can I learn what I need to learn to change and make an improvement on my revenue, to make an improvement on getting more funding. What needs to be done? Well, I got to work on business credit. I got to work on my personal credit. I got to work on profitability, and I got to work on certain aspects of myself and my business. So be open-minded. Number 8, not putting yourself in other person's shoes. So like I do for you, I would greatly appreciate if you reciprocated that. I put myself in your position, how you're thinking, because I've been in your position trying to get business funding. I know that. It's how it works. Getting business funding. I know what it does to a business when you use it correctly. When you use it incorrectly, you can see it on your reports. Week in and week out, per quarter. Don't tell me otherwise, because I've been in this position. So not putting yourself in another person's shoes, like myself, my team, my underwriters, my lenders, does a lot of harm. And it creates friction, whether we're bumping heads or not, or you're creating resistance. We don't want that. We want to make it as least as we can, least of a friction as possible. I know there may be some there may not be any there, but hey, we're working every single time, and I'm working every single time for you to make sure I get the best offer I can as possible. And so again, putting yourself in my shoes as I put myself in yours. Will you be able to reciprocate that? Please do. And if you're not, then please stay away. And that goes for anybody. It's not because of me. Just stay away from anybody, working with anybody, because you're putting their energy and time somewhere else. You're not really mindful. And that's another thing, be mindful. That goes back to being open-minded. Number 9, your character gets in the way. So this kind of overall encompasses the past 3 to 4 numbers that I mentioned, but for number 9, your character is getting in the way. And again, I have my notepad in front of me as guidance. Your character being my characteristics. I am unresponsible. I don't even clean my own room. I don't even speak and communicate with my spouse or my children or my family correctly. I talk to people down. Whenever I see them, I'm a loose cannon. I can't articulate concepts as simple maybe, and that gets in the way and that frustrates you. Your opinions matter too much, and they shouldn't matter as much as you think. Basing things on opinion as opposed to facts. And then just having the right attitude overall is what I want to mention. Is if you don't have the right attitude, whether you say something or not, it shows it in your thoughts. It shows it on how you behave. So when you come into an application or before an application, please get that together, because I don't want to deal with somebody. If I see somebody like that right here already, guess what they're going to be like in the application process? They're going to be to deal with. So I don't want to ever be put in an uncomfortable position. I don't mind being out of my comfort zone. That's a different thing. Uncomfortable being, I don't want to have to become somebody that I'm not. And if you're turning me into somebody that I'm not, and I don't want to ever be a sleazy salesperson, because I'm not that. I'm not a quote-unquote salesperson traditionally. If I have to be there every single second and have to be very forthcoming with something that I shouldn't be, I don't want to have to do that, and I normally don't. So please, let's keep our thoughts orderly. Let's be patient about something, respectful, and do it in ways where we can come out of this and get done at the end of the day and say, hey, we made progress, or hey, this is what our offer is. Yes, I'm excited with that. Let's take action with it and move forward with it. Keep it short and simple. That's what I usually love. If it's not, it's okay. Either way is fine. But know what you're saying and reciprocate that, and then show it in your actions. Number 10, not reading, watching, and listening. And this is where I want to end it. And I said this earlier too, but I want to come back full circle. Why aren't you reading the information that I provided you? Whether it's an email, a blog post, maybe it's a description of a YouTube video, social media post, wherever it is. Maybe a book I sent you. Why aren't you watching it? What's the excuse for that? If the material is presented in several ways, or if your preferred method of it is watching it, okay. Well, why didn't you watch the first minute or two and you asked the question that was obviously shown up in that first 30 seconds? If you would have watched the video. I have people who do that every day. I don't have time. I don't have energy to. I'm always running. You don't understand. I have multiple businesses to run. Yeah, I do too. And so it's a thing about your character. It's what it comes back to. You're programmed to do this. You're programmed to always keep moving. And if that's the case, it's not bad necessarily. I'm just saying you got to take time. If you're going to buy a home, what do? Yeah, just have the wife do it for me. Oh, okay, mister. Now it's your time to listen up and then go through and understand what this is going to entail. Yeah, you can have a spouse or another person in your company who takes care of the finances, sends me the documents. Are they going to be a guarantor or not? And so much more. So when it comes time to it, what I recommend is for most business owners right now to start understanding their finances. Get better at understanding your finances before the quarter ends? How can you change something, iterate it, innovate it, if you can't measure? How many of you are just working like your butts off and not seeing the results you want? How many of you are working your butts off, seeing the results, but know you can do something more with that, and you just haven't yet because you haven't figured out how to pin it down, or you haven't taken the time to? So when you have a growth and expansion opportunity, you think you're going to be in the position for, if you use this money, this is what it'll do, but you're just theorizing. You're not quite basing it off of the numbers, of the facts, of the pattern. And if you are, that's great. All the power to you, but we have to find our way there. Listening is another point. So reading, watching, listening. Right now you're listening, you're watching. You're probably reading comments, if there are any. Maybe you have a magazine next to you. You're listening to your surroundings. So listen whenever somebody is saying something to you. Listen when somebody like an expert is expressing to you how it works over your way. It's not your way or the highway. It's pay attention or go away. Honestly, that's what it is. And it isn't in an aggressive or disrespectful way that I say that. I never do that. And it's more of a tough love. Come to the batting cages ready. When you show up to the game, we'll have you fine-tuned, ready to hit a ball in play. And then if you hit a home run once in a while, great. But you got to hit some, put some in play. Move to first base, and then from first base, move to second base, third base. Right? It's no different if you're in a relationship, unless you're a sleazy salesperson who tries to tell that other person that, get in bed with them right away. You build the momentum. Date in, date out. So what you do is, you're not dating me. I don't want to say that. What I'm saying is, you have that person who's going to go to war, who's going to go to battles for you. When that war's over, if there's another war to go, I'm going to go into the trenches for you, and I'll work for you. I'll gather everything that I need, and I'll analyze it. So that'll conclude everything for these 10 business loan mistakes you want to avoid. We started this video early with a few hiccups. I said business loan broker instead of business owners, and then a few more things just kind of out of repetition. But to recap, these 10, and we're going to work in top to bottom, not reverse engineered. But 1, not getting educated. Again, you don't have the proper education to make the right informed decision about, even when it comes to an offer. I'm sure 100% of the time. And that other individual who's helping you, they may be bait and switching you, or they may be telling you something to fluff you up to make it sound good. And as a marketer, okay, because I have those skill sets, I know ethically what I have to do. I'm not going to ever push you to do something that doesn't make sense. That's not it. Every person's different. So I know how to turn that on and off. And so not getting educated is your biggest failure above everything. Because if you skip not getting educated and you're just going to do everything else, you're in for a long haul. It's going to be a long, long day and long times ahead of you. Number 2, applying everywhere and anywhere. And I'm going to summarize just each and every one of these. Not good. And that can run your credit. Third parties distributing your information. You get found somewhere else. Maybe your information now is on the black web. They ran your social security and they did something fraudulent, not on your part. Now you're having to deal with disputes. Now you're having to get into settlements. Now you're having to get into clearing all of this up, making sure you got something removed. And if it is removed, is that enough for you? Now you have other things, other debt you couldn't pay off because you've been in tight pinches where you shouldn't have been, and you would have had that $20,000 had you have paid attention. Even if they're a legitimate place to go to, they're not always best for you. And the majority of those who are a lot of the times advertising online and look the part and you've heard of them don't always make sense for you. And you have to, again, speak with the broker who knows your industry. And I've worked in every industry, honestly. I specialized in trucking, and then I moved. I got into every one of them: construction, home builders, roofing, concrete, everything, medical, retail, cannabis space, manufacturing. And that's not just all of them. There's so many I can even list, but I'm just going to leave it there. 3, price shopping. Lowest price, get that out of your head. And what I mean by that is looking for the best terms at the best rates and getting the best monthly repayment if you even have that, and getting the most amount initially, and making sure that the interest rates look clean. And I get all of that. That's fine to think. But at the same time, when you're dealing with the private investor or private lender, they're not going to give you always the best rates. they're not going to always give you the best terms. You don't have the right underwriting material to meet those demands, but you got to start somewhere. And so price shopping, you could say, yeah, I can save more money if there's a prepay associated with it, but it's not all about the prepay. There's more that comes to this table that you have to look at. Number 4, looking for something that doesn't exist. Similar to what I just mentioned. Don't go out there looking for something that you feel, oh, I feel entitled, I feel deserving, I feel like this because my beliefs are this and because somebody said this and this is what it should be like, and you never change your beliefs. You never met somebody like me who can change those beliefs, and we're not doing that right now. But that's number 4. Number 5, you're not being respectful and accountable. Now this comes to the personal side, as I said earlier. You're not being respectful, accountable, on time. Sometimes I can't make appointments myself, and I apologize if I haven't been able to make ours and haven't said anything, because I get flooded. Like days like today, I got flooded. Yesterday I got flooded, but I will get to those of you who I haven't been able to. But I do say these things, and I do apologize. I don't just hide. I don't become a friendly or unfriendly ghost. I don't become Homer Simpson going back into the bushes. I show up, even if it's a bit late. How about you? Can you ask yourself of that? Who knows what you can't show up to if you do that here? You can't even show up to your own dentist appointments. Oh yeah, you'll show up to those. Oh, you'll show up to, oh, damn, there's I'm going to be there. Yeah, but when it comes time to showing up for little things I ask you about, will you be there? So making sure you are held responsible and accountable for your actions. Your actions speak louder than your words. Too many are feeling like, okay, I feel this and yeah, at a point it's an emotional thing, and then it's another thing, it's to be logical. So I don't discount either one of them. Number 6, not being patient. Be patient. That's self-explanatory. If you're losing patience, that's because maybe it's your fault a lot of the times. It's not always the lender. Sometimes the lender's out or the underwriter did this, but it's usually right, and it's most of the time on the business owners. If I'm going to get funding, it's usually on me why it doesn't happen. But understand that what I communicate with you is going to be what you need before you go into an application. I just had a client earlier just send me a text message, so I'll have to get back to her. Not being open-minded. How about opening up your mind and asking yourself, can I listen? Can I hear him out? Can I watch his material? Can I read his material? Can I listen to his material? And it's not what I want, but I'm willing to be open at least. Or, hey, it's not what I wanted, but this is somewhere where I can begin. Okay, you wanted that revenue. You didn't even get the revenue you were doing per month. Do you have collateral, sufficient collateral for the asset-based lender for me to take you to, for them to look at you, to take you by the hand and say, here's Sally, here's Jimmy. He has this amounting in collateral in total for what he has. Okay, no, it doesn't work. So what's your other option? Do you have credit? Oh, my credit stinks. What do you do with your credit then? If you want to get a personal/startup loan, get access to credit lines, get access to more higher credit limits on your business credit cards, even on the personal side. What do you think you should do there? How about we raise our revenue? How do we raise our revenue by doing that? Get access to business credit lines. Okay, well, what are those business credit lines going to do? If I have to tell you that, you're not a business owner. So, not putting yourself in other person's shoes. I'm always in your position thinking what you're thinking, because I've been in your position where I've looked for funding, I've gone funding. So don't think I don't know like the different solutions or problems, pain that's happening and occurring. Now there may be some to an extent that are different, but be open-minded, and then also put yourself in people's shoes, myself. So when I have that point of contact with you, make sure you're not wasting energy and time with me. That's why I don't, like, I had a referral the other day from a lady who I've been speaking to, and I told her, like, hey, I don't pick up phone calls out of the blue, just so you know. And I know their number now, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm picking it up. And the reason behind that is because too many people want a phone call, never do anything with it, or they never go anywhere. I ask something of them to follow up with in time, and then they just become very hesitant, they become very afraid, or they just don't become responsive in other ways. And I'm like, I just spent a 30-minute conversation that I gave them time and energy to. And I get it's information you're looking for. But if you're going to put me on the 100th list of 100 real estate investors you're looking for to help you with your commercial property or your freaking fix and flip, and okay, I already sense the BS here. I know where this is going. Why don't you go with any of those guys? Oh, I'm just putting a list together, so I'm going to be another person on the list. Okay, that's okay. But at the same time, why do I want to put energy and time into a phone call or a Zoom call for that? when I could have done it in an email. People always want a call from me, and it makes sense at some points. To you, it may not be. Don't be let down and think that's a negative. It isn't. Because we think financially, we have to always be on a phone call. And I get that. It's financial matters. It's your business. But to a degree, it's not always a phone call. To some degrees, it is. And so you have to understand that I'm on this side thinking about how I'm supposed to and when I'm supposed to be on a call with you, if it makes sense. So another part here, your character gets in the way. I'll come to the comments in a second. Again, this comes back to the last 4 to 5. Your character's in the way. Please, go fix it. Go work on yourself. Because who you display right here, who Jimmy, who Sally is right here, is who they're going to be when we go into a war, into a battle, in that application. Do you think I really want to deal with somebody? Do you think the lender, I want to be a lender someday too. That's what I'm shooting for. And if it doesn't, it's okay. But that's where I have my expectations. And so for those of you who have been rocking with me, who have been sticking with me, who have been saying, hey, this guy's not BSing. I'm not messing around. And so if you want to go waste somebody's energy and time, another broker, another agent who will overpromise, underdeliver, oh, you guys don't even know. I can tell you, every broker and agent that reaches out to me, whether I know them or not, they're reaching out to me and they're all in my inbox. I kid you not. I freaking kid you not. Because I know I don't cuss. I don't do none of that. This is here to prove a point. When I walk away from here, I'm going to go exercise. I'm going to go relax. I'm probably taking a nap before the start of my evening. But what you guys don't understand is you've never had to challenge yourself and work on your character. It's freaking nonsense. It's not excusable. You go get a home mortgage. Why do you care so much about that? But when it comes to an application, you're just going to apply everywhere and anywhere. That's not the way you approach things. Oh, because I'm banking with them, I can go to them. It's much easier. No, it doesn't work the opposite when you're doing a business loan. You just don't apply everywhere and anywhere. So I've had to shut down people today, and it's like, even lenders come back to me and go like, this is ridiculous, man. Like, this guy did the same thing. And yeah, because they don't listen. That goes back to my next part. So character gets in the way, your stubbornness, your ego. I have people who tell me, let's start, but don't run my credit, or don't start with my credit score, or don't give me a hard pull, which I understand, soft pull, okay. But don't run my credit, or don't look at my credit. Like, that's what I got from that. Like, what do you mean don't look at your credit? You think you're going to go get a home mortgage and they're not going to look at your credit? You think you're going to go get a car loan and they're going to look at your credit? Like, nonsense. Do you have collateral? Give me collateral then, so I can go to the lender. And then we don't look at a credit requirement. Oh, now we're talking, aren't we? So, number 10, again, not reading, watching, listening. God gave me big ears for a reason. He gave me big eyes for a reason. I could watch. I could read and digest. I'd read books. That'll help you guys. That's a sample size. So, that's where I want to leave it with. Let me come to the comments. Hi, Crypto. How are you doing? I'm sorry to hear that. Without going into the details, I know I've heard these stories before in the past. There are many things to that. What would I think? I mean, as a broker / lender, putting myself in their shoes, you would definitely want to look into that deeper. And that's a matter we can have on the back end without getting into specifics. I can't really know the whole thing. So giving you a clear answer as to what to do, because I don't have the full story and the length of it, I don't think should be shared in the comments. That, again, something can be on the back end, because it depends on what the actual, like how in depth it was and when it happened. Like, I got to look at those things too. I got to consider those. And so there's a little bit more. And some lenders out there, they are forgiving when they're going to lend you money, and they want to verify you, of course, but they also care about the business. So if they weigh that business more heavily, if you have another business owner, they'll also even say, hey, you can give some type of an equity situation. There could be a partnership situation, and they look at theirs, but some of them are a little bit more lenient. Again, without getting too specific, I know you just said here your identity stolen. You're like, how much more specific should I get? it could go a little bit further. But I don't want to ask those questions on this because of sensitive issues. Yeah, see, I can get into it with you. Like, I can chat it up. Don't think you're the only one either, because there are a lot of people who come to me with these issues. And so, yeah, it is on a case by case. Sí, lo miré. Gracias. Le voy a mandar otra vez la página, yo creo, porque el otro día estaba en mi website y no estaba sirviendo la forma porque tenía un problema con ¿cómo se llama? Se llama SMTP. Hay un error en el website que te enseña y no estaba conectando con el form. Solo ya lo cambié y ya miré su mensaje y más adelante, a lo mejor mañana o la otra semana, le mando un mensaje para que lo haga otra vez porque no, ustedes nomás no era otros también que les pasó. Ajá, de nada. Yes, but again, it's a case by case, so we have to look at what happened and the whole story behind your identity. That's where it's gonna come down to, like the whole story. So, without getting into it, again, but yes, if you're cash flow positive, doesn't necessarily mean if you're just cash flow. It could be even like negative. Just depends on how negative. But cash flow positive, you want to be. And usually, you want to have strong daily bank balances. You want to have better average daily bank balances. That definitely helps. Keep more cash into your business. Circulating that cash. Getting more money that can then potentially help you with more cash flow. But yeah, if you can take that and then use it for good, the benefit exceeds the repayment, then do so. 1 second. Okay, just verifying that an owner came through the application. This is a perfect example. So maybe you're in here, I won't say your name, but I'll speak to the behavior. An individual looking to get about closer to 100K, they were getting nowhere close because of the revenue. And so the only other form, because they don't have good credit, I mean, friends and family, crowdfunding, they can do 401k IRA. They're not limited by any means, but those won't work maybe as well. Maybe a grant opportunity, but who knows? That doesn't happen as fast and not getting the amount that you'd want to get in this market. So collateral, they have tractor trailers, they have a few things. If they amount to the amount that we're looking to get them approved for, then yeah, we can lend on that. There's sales leaseback situations. And there's another form that we can do, but it's just about being open. And so I'm working with the best, again, like I said, and I know who they're being submitted to because of that. So makes all the difference. A tier, B, C tier, doesn't matter. I have those. Yeah, you have a higher chance if I didn't say that already. Better revenue. 3, cash flow, collateral, revenue. Cash flow, collateral, credit. Even I do these things. But you want to have those 3, all 3 ideally. If you don't, it's okay. You can have cash flow without the 2. You can have credit without the other 2, or you can have collateral without the other 2, or you can have all 3 or 2 of the 3. When you work, I'm going to work with most of you to have at least 2 of the 3, if not 3 of the 3. You can stick to 1, but I promise you this: when you get into like an SBA loan, which is ultimately my goal for you guys, is to help you guys get an SBA 7A Express loan. There's cap line program, standard loans above $350,000, up to 10 years amortized, maturity dates, even up to 25 years with real estate. If that's something attractive, because it's an extension and you can consolidate, refinance situations, probably equipment, that's my ultimate goal. And then you can have bridge funding in the meantime and then work on your credit, work on other things if you need to. But ultimately, if you're looking for that path and to a monthly repayment instead of these weekly, daily all the time, because revenue based, you don't always start with monthly. I do. And it is viralfundingsolutions.com. So something going viral, funding solutions with an S and then .com. And don't want to get too much into the backstory of why I named it that, but I have one actually. I still run it and I do blog on it. So viral home based pursuit is one of my affiliate marketing businesses that I began a while ago, and then teaching people different marketing tools and supplies. And before that, I operated in the health and wellness space, helping people with their back pain because I have had those issues. And so I wanted to show people how to get relief, and it grew over time. I even did a hybrid with an e-commerce, and then I even backtracked and went back to what I wanted to do, which was my affiliate site. Created a lot of content around that topic in multiple verticals as well. And then, at the same time, when that was happening, I was also building out the whole digital marketing agency and working on a lot of that. So, yeah, I'll try to have this again, like I said, on YouTube, and I'll be placing it there for you guys to see again. And you guys can probably access those 10 key points if I have a document for it, but I'll leave you guys a questionnaire form. If you guys haven't filled this out, it should be now working. Bio, link click, first buying, business funding, fill it out, and then it'll land in my email, where then I will evaluate you, analyze it, and then give you a proper response back via email. And I don't mean evaluate you as in like you. I'm not sizing you up. What I mean is I'm going to evaluate your funding details, and that'll give me a better picture as to how can I create a better way of saying this is your best funding option or options. And literally, like I spoke to a guy today. He wanted to be on a phone call with me. I don't think it merited the phone call because they weren't really listening to me. So I had to make sure they listened, and I sent them more emails, and it happens. But it's a Friday, and perhaps a call a little bit later after that part would have been better. But hey, they got into an application with me just showing it to them via email, and that's obviously what it is. And we just had some back and forth conversation, and he knew it made sense for him to do it this way. Not because I was being ignorant. It had nothing to do with that. It was just because of energy, time efficiency. It wasn't necessarily needed for that moment. It's just, hey, let's get started now. You have everything you need to make that informed decision. Let's move on to the next part. You are welcome. Yeah, and it takes time. Don't rush things. You make that jump to an LLC. I would say, looking back, doing this all over again with my other businesses, I would have said, hey, let's do it from the very beginning. So if you can, set all the points before that, like your business name, doing business as if you have a few other things too. I don't want to speak about that. I have other content I made already on this, but make sure you have all those key steps before you even get an LLC. And that's like one of the very first as well. And then that's going to help you when you even go open up a business checking account, and then a few other things. So have that set up. I'm not going to start naming all the different companies you can go set up your LLC for. You can even do a quick Google search, but I have a list of them that can work out there. I just had them on my mind, but I won't say them. So not say them, it's just I don't want to get into all that. I would like to as well. I do. Like I mentioned, if you go to the right profile, there are fake people. So there's a person on Facebook who's imitating me. It has my picture and everything. And they've been sharing my content. I mean, yeah, they've been sharing my content. I guess that helps. But I reported them. I don't think they've been taken down yet. But it was reported like 2 to 3 days ago. I just started seeing them appear, and I went to go check out their profile because I'm like, yeah, they are recommending me, or they're just sharing my content. Appreciate them. Went to go over there to show them love on their post. Like, hey, thank you. Appreciate you for expressing this with the world. But I find out that they're using my profile. They're using like my stuff that they recreated. So I'm trying to be careful of who you find online. And on my TikToks, be careful because those are the same people who are commenting, come to Telegram, Cardi B. I'm kidding. But send me a comment, send me an email, I sent you this. And then I also on Facebook Reels right now. It's happening a lot. But if you go to my profile, you should be able to find my link to get started. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for saying that. I try to be as transparent and honest. I don't tell people to fluff them up. I don't say something because it sounds good to you. And I have a digital marketing background. Just imagine that. Like a really ethical person with a marketing background, not salesy at all, has learned the marketing techniques because I had to build the other businesses. Who I'm not saying something just to say it. Like I'm not gonna just say it because somebody else thinks it sounds good to sell you. I'm not doing that. And it has to make absolute sense for you and I and the lender. So with me, it's like I give you 5 minutes, you get 5 minutes. You know me now, you can give me a call whenever you'd like. Doesn't necessarily mean I'll always pick up, but there's a higher likeliness that I will pick it up, even if I'm on my personal downtime. And I'll give you like, hey, I won't always say it, but I'll just, hey, how are you doing? And then I'll get in conversation. It's very stress-free with me. And I'm introverted too, so let's try to keep things to a minimum. Yeah, be careful who you speak to. Justin, thank you. Appreciate you once again. And these are not just things I just say, just so you guys know. It's not like, oh, I leave this and I go, ooh. No, I'm like, when you see me in person, I'm probably more quiet and reserved, but my younger brother will tell you that too. But it's like, there's never really anything you can go wrong with me. You don't want to get a New Yorker, do you? Hey, listen to me, man. Let's say you get you a loan and I'm gonna... No. You've lost me. No, cut that sales crap out, please. Get out. So I don't do that. Have they? I'm sure they're sharing a lot of knowledge with you. I've even had people, and the way that they're doing it with you, keep doing that, because I'm in masterminds myself, and I go to business owners who have helped me, and I still turn to them, and then even new ones who I'm trying to learn a little bit of something from their part because they know it better, and maybe it's their person that they know, so I get in contact with them and they show me a little bit more. I've also gone to businesses and I know the people who have funded, and they're more than welcoming, and I'm so grateful because, again, I'm there. Did you? See, that's an advantage. It's not quote unquote a catch. And I'm not saying investing in terms of money all the time, but that could be it. Yeah, that definitely opens doors. Money talks to people. Why would they make an investment in you if they can't get a return from that, financially speaking? Yeah, there's a return on your investment as a person. But if you make those investments into those buckets day in and day out, no matter how small or big they are, those little ones, those little tiny actions amount to larger ones and larger results. That's how you learn. You make even the smallest tiny margins. You don't think so, but they do. I did it. Yeah, just gotta be careful who you're listening to and make sure you're in the right group. Oh, it is. It's an all-time high. Um, oh man, even those like merchant cash advances, like that's just one product, but phew, I don't want to get into this topic. It's too much. Be careful. And not per se is it always a New Yorker, so I'm not like spitting on New Yorkers. I'm just saying that I know, and from what I hear also from clients, like a past one I had recently just said, you wouldn't imagine people from New York who were calling me, and he had picked up the phone from them. He didn't have to. And you wouldn't imagine the things that they say on a call, the things that how they even just sound. And so it's a very big turnoff, especially for me. And I shut those people down like that. If it were for me, I would ask them how they articulate everything. And a lot of people cannot articulate usually like I can because I am an introverted person. And that's a huge advantage you get with someone like myself. Is that in a huge room of people, I may be one of the most silent ones, but the most deadly at the same time. And that's because I'm in there listening. And if I see something and I hear something that isn't right, not necessarily do I call it out, but at a point, I may make my address and I may just go. Some people like to just chat and sound like they're sounding and speak because there's a chance for them to speak on topics. And I'm not a firm believer in addressing and talking about every topic, politically, non-politically. Yeah, does the matter have a place and does it matter? Yeah, of course it does. I'm not saying it doesn't, but I don't have to speak to everything. I don't have to verbalize my opinion. I don't have to share with you because I didn't need to share with you. because it would make you feel better. Then you can sound better saying something back. So be careful about who you speak to. Even entrepreneurs these days, sometimes they have nothing better to do, and they just join these groups and just start talking about everything and anything and have their opinions on every single matter, as opposed to just keep it to yourself sometimes. Just hold it. You don't got to express it every time. Now, if you're an extroverted person, there we go. Can't stop them. So, anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns before I get going here in about a minute or two? I got to get out and start exercising and get started with my evening. I have family over, if you guys can hear them. We're all here watching the World Cup. So here's another client. I'll read what they had to say later. We're situated with this individual. Simple. Look at that. And I'm not saying it as, here he is. Yeah, he shows up. He's in my back office with what is needed. And we'll take it from there. Awesome. Okay, about 30 more seconds, I'll say that, and then I'll get going. And I didn't plan to make this video, just so you know, so you guys got a treat from me. I was in here earlier. I guess I'll leave you guys with this. If you're still doubting me, be a doubter. I mean, you don't know my story 100%. You may not. So I'll leave that for you down below and for you to decide whether you rock with me or you don't. And the majority of people, just so you know, do, because I'm ethical, relatable, trustworthy, honest. What more do you want? Communicative, how I can be. Sometimes I get maybe some words here and there, but that's what happens when you have a Spanish mind and an English mind. So please be upfront. We went through those 10 things. I won't mention them again. And it's smooth sailing. I know it sounds easier said than done, but really it is. Like, you've made everything easier. Why can't we make this next part hassle-free? And that's for you to decide now if that offer makes sense to you, how it's been presented to you. So from there on out, make that educated decision, understand your plan. Getting 20, pay back 27, getting 100, paying back 130,000, 125,000. All right, over 15 months, over 12 months, over 8 months, can I do it? Can I start with less, perhaps? We all make these decisions, but where you're not, it's like you don't understand your business enough to the effect of it is, and the repayment doesn't exceed or exceeds the actual benefit. So understand the return on all that. Okay, so that's all from me. Thank you guys for listening. Please have a great evening, weekend, and I will see you guys on the next one. And look out for my content. If you haven't been a part of my channel and you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so here, as well as in the YouTube channel, blog. Follow me there. Social media posts. I'll always keep posting for you guys. New material, new up-to-date content. I'll try to get around to some of the SBA stuff. Hopefully next week. I haven't been able to this week. A lot of stuff happening right now. A lot of clients flooded. Applications, not applications. People who hide. Don't be a hider. Don't come submit something and then just hide. We don't want that. We don't want somebody who comes in, takes the time to probably submit a 30-second, less than 30 second, a minute plus questionnaire for them to just disappear or not like what they were given. But don't become somebody who gives feedback. That's a dishonest person. That's an unaccountable, irresponsible person. You know who you are if you're that person or not. That's it from me. Take care. Bye.